You don't need anyone's approval to believe in yourself. You don't need applause or praise. All you need is a decision that you must make right now. So many of us live our lives waiting for confidence, waiting for signs, waiting until we feel ready. But here's the truth. What we're really doing is wasting time. How many opportunities have slipped right through your fingers because you hesitated? Telling yourself, not yet. That hesitation isn't humility. It's fear, disguised as caution. It's old programming. Mental habits you've carried around for years that tell you, not now. The Stoics taught us one thing above all. You are not your emotions. And you are not your doubts. You are your actions. Understanding this is crucial. Stoicism doesn't offer comfort. It offers control. Control over your mind, your choices, your actions. Belief isn't something you earn after you succeed. It's something you embody before success ever arrives. And that's what separates the disciplined from the drifting. This video is a call to action. It's time to stop waiting for confidence to show up. Stop waiting for the signs. Instead, start becoming the proof of your own belief. We'll dive into why belief isn't a feeling. It's a mental structure. We'll uncover how to rewire your thinking because those old beliefs, they're not facts. They're habits that can be rewritten. You'll learn how to face fear head on without flinching. How to choose strength even when your voice trembles. Because taking responsibility for your mindset, that's where true power lies. You're not the only one who's struggled with this. We've all questioned our worth. But the ones who've changed their lives, they didn't wait to feel powerful. They decided to become it. If this message resonates with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe. And more importantly, send it to someone who needs to hear it. Because belief, like strength, multiplies when shared. Let's dive in. And remember, Stoicism isn't just theory. It's a way of living. Act first, confidence follows. Waiting for motivation before taking action is like waiting for your thirst to vanish before you dig a well. Most people live their lives this way, delaying, hesitating, hoping that confidence will strike like lightning. They wait for the right moment, the right mood, or the perfect version of themselves. But here's the hard truth, that moment never comes. And every delay, it drains more than just time. It drains your self-respect. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd wake up early to work out? You set the alarm, laid out your clothes, but when the alarm goes off, you pause. You don't feel like it. You're tired, unmotivated, so you stay in bed, telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow, when I feel more rested or more inspired. But inspiration? It's unreliable. It's just emotion dressed up as logic. The Stoic doesn't wait for inspiration. When the alarm rings, they get up and get moving, not because it feels good, but because it's the decision they've already made. Confidence doesn't come before action. It follows it every time you show up. Despite the doubt, despite the resistance, something inside of you changes. Your brain starts to rewire itself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates and start seeing yourself as someone who does. Each repetition builds mental muscle. That's why the Stoics taught, don't waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, think about it, or wait for it. He said, be it. And that's the difference between philosophy as entertainment and philosophy as armor. Confidence isn't a gift. It's not something handed to you after you've proven yourself. It's built, like calluses on the hands of a worker. Now, let's transition to the next part where we'll break down how to build that confidence. One action at a time. Returning to what we discussed earlier, real strength and confidence aren't something you're born with. They're built through a long process of challenges and persistence. Now, let's continue by looking at another crucial aspect that Stoicism teaches us. Strength comes from facing fear, not avoiding it. True strength isn't built from easy victories, but from the moments when you fight against yourself. When you rise even though everything in you wants to quit. It's when you keep moving forward. Even when your body and mind scream, stop. You know that with each step through discomfort, you grow stronger. And then, day by day, your posture shifts. You no longer walk like someone pretending, but like someone who has paid the price. Think about it. If you always wait until you feel ready to act, you'll never get anywhere. There will always be a reason to delay, another excuse to wait for tomorrow. But when you act, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, you build something more than confidence. You build trust in yourself. That trust becomes inner strength, and that strength transforms into presence. People will notice it, and more importantly, you will feel it, and that's real, because you earned it. A man who acts before he feels ready isn't reckless, he's disciplined. He doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He walks through it step by step. No drama, no spotlight, just forward. And that's what Stoicism offers, not hype, not comfort, but clarity. A way to stand tall when everything inside wants to retreat. A way to move forward without applause. A way to win each day, not by shouting, but by doing. So, if you're tired of doubting yourself, don't wait for that to change. Move through it, lace up your shoes, make the call, show up for the thing you've been avoiding. Not for the outcome, but for the person you become in the process. You'll still feel doubt, but let it sit in the back seat. Just don't let it take the wheel. The proof isn't in how good it looks. The proof is in how often you show up when it doesn't. That's how belief is built. That's how power is earned. Confidence isn't a starting point. It's a result, and it always follows the person who moves first. Real strength and confidence aren't something you're born with. They're built through a long process of challenges and persistence. Now, let's continue by looking at another crucial aspect that Stoicism teaches us. Strength comes from facing fear, not avoiding it. True strength isn't built from easy victories, but from the moments when you fight against yourself. When you rise even though everything in you wants to quit. It's when you keep moving forward. Even when your body and mind scream, stop. You know that with each step through discomfort, you grow stronger. And then, day by day, your posture shifts. You no longer walk like someone pretending, but like someone who has paid the price. Think about it. If you always wait until you feel ready to act, you'll never get anywhere. There will always be a reason to delay, another excuse to wait for tomorrow. But when you act, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, you build something more than confidence. You build trust in yourself. That trust becomes inner strength, and that strength transforms into presence. People will notice it, and more importantly, you will feel it, and that's real, because you earned it. A man who acts before he feels ready isn't reckless, he's disciplined. He doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He walks through it step by step. No drama, no spotlight, just forward. And that's what Stoicism offers, not hype, not comfort, but clarity. A way to stand tall when everything inside wants to retreat. A way to move forward without applause. A way to win each day, not by shouting, but by doing. So, if you're tired of doubting yourself, don't wait for that to change. Move through it, lace up your shoes, make the call, show up for the thing you've been avoiding. Not for the outcome, but for the person you become in the process. You'll still feel doubt, but let it sit in the back seat. Just don't let it take the wheel. The proof isn't in how. Now, let's talk about facing fear with logic, not emotion. Fear is like the monster under your childhood bed. In the dark, it looks enormous, fierce, and threatening. But then, when you turn on the light, what you find isn't a monster, it's just a pile of old clothes. Fear works the same way. It's an emotion that hides in the dark, inflates in silence, and thrives in avoidance. But when you shine the light of logic on it, when you stop running and face it, fear often shrinks into something small, almost laughable. Before you do anything meaningful, Whether it's asking for a raise, speaking in public, pitching an idea, or taking that first leap, fear will show up. Your heart will race, your hands will sweat, your mind will spin, thinking of all the ways it could go wrong. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I look like a fool? But stop, sit down and write it out. What's the worst that could really happen? Maybe someone says no. Maybe you stumble through your words. Maybe someone laughs. So what? Did you die? Lose your house? Lose your identity? Or did you just feel uncomfortable for a moment? As Seneca said, most men suffer more in imagination than in reality. Your brain is designed to protect you, but it doesn't always know how to distinguish between a real threat and a perceived one. It reacts to public speaking the same way it would react to being chased through the woods. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because fear isn't going anywhere. You can't outrun it, but you can outthink it. Now, let's talk about facing fear with logic, not emotion. Fear is like the monster under your childhood bed. In the dark, it looks enormous, fierce, and threatening. But then, when you turn on the light, what you find isn't a monster, it's just a pile of old clothes. Fear works the same way. It's an emotion that hides in the dark, inflates in silence, and thrives in avoidance. But when you shine the light of logic on it, when you stop running and face it, fear often shrinks into something small, almost laughable, before you do anything meaningful. Whether it's asking for a raise, speaking in public, pitching an idea, or taking that first leap, fear will show up, your heart will race, your hands will sweat, your mind will spin, thinking of all the ways it could go wrong. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I look like a fool? But stop, sit down and write it out. What's the worst that could really happen? Maybe someone says no, maybe you stumble through your words, maybe someone laughs. So what? Did you die? Lose your house? Lose your identity? Or did you just feel uncomfortable for a moment? As Seneca said, most men suffer more in imagination than in reality. Your brain is designed to protect you, but it doesn't always know how to distinguish between a real threat and a perceived one. It reacts to public speaking the same way it would react to being chased through the woods. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because fear isn't going anywhere. You can't outrun it, but you can outthink it. Let's continue from where we left off. Building on the importance of facing fear with logic, let's explore how belief shapes our reality and how it transforms not just the way we see the world, but the way the world responds to us. Start by naming your fear. Don't shy away from it. Don't pretend it's not there, lurking in the background. Acknowledge it out loud. Say it. I'm afraid they'll reject my idea. Or, I'm afraid I'll embarrass myself. Good. Now, let's take a step further and break it down. What happens if that fear comes true? What is the worst case scenario? Ask yourself, will I survive it? Will I be able to recover? Will I learn something valuable from it? More often than not, the answer is yes, and in that moment, the grip of fear loosens. The wave doesn't disappear, but you've learned to ride it instead of drowning in it. You are not weak for feeling afraid. You're human, but staying weak is what happens when you allow that fear to dictate your decisions. A Stoic doesn't aim to eliminate emotion, he learns to observe it, and then respond through reason. When fear rises, a Stoic doesn't panic, he studies it, deconstructs it, and moves forward anyway. Imagine you want to launch a new project. Fear whispers, what if it fails? What if people talk behind your back? Emotion amplifies that voice, but logic interrupts it. What if it does fail? What do you stand to gain? You gain insight. You learn what doesn't work. You find out where to aim next. The man who never begins gains nothing, no scars, no stories, no growth, but the man who tries, even if he falls, walks away sharper and stronger. Fear is like the ocean. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to ride them. When the swell rises, don't freeze, don't run away, Drop your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself. This is just a signal, not a sentence. It's not a wall. It's a gate. And once you're capable of walking through that gate, use the moments right before the call, the meeting, or the confrontation as a test. Let it be a representative, a new set in the gym of your mind. When fear shows up, don't treat it like a red light. Treat it like a green light, a sign that you're on the edge of something worth doing. Because fear, when filtered through reason, becomes fuel, and the more you face it, the more familiar it becomes. It loses its fangs. You stop seeing it as a stop sign and start seeing it for what it really is. Proof that you're alive, that you're growing, and that you're moving in the direction that matters. So, the next time fear stands between you and the life you want, don't wait for it to vanish. Turn on the light and move through it. Moving on to another critical idea, your belief shapes your reality. Something shifts when a man truly believes in what he's doing. His tone changes, his presence sharpens, and the world around him begins to respond differently, not because the world itself has changed, but because he has. That's the power of belief. It's not some mystical energy floating in the air. It's a mental filter that alters how you see yourself, and in turn, how you show up in the world. Take the case of Roger Bannister. Before 1954, no human being had run a mile in under 4 minutes. Scientists claimed it was impossible. Coaches believed the human body would collapse. And runners had tried and failed for decades. But then Roger Bannister came along. Not just with a stronger body, but with a different belief. He told himself it was possible. He trained as though it was inevitable, and ran like it was already true. And when he broke that so-called barrier, something fascinating happened. Within weeks, others began to break it too. Nothing had changed physiologically. What changed was the belief. The barrier wasn't in the body, it was in the mind. This is how it works in everyday life. A man walks into a job interview thinking, "They probably won't pick me. I'm not that impressive." His body responds to that belief. He may appear tense, nervous, or disengaged, without even realizing it. But what if, instead, he walked in thinking, "I'm exactly what they need. I have value to offer." Suddenly, his presence changes, his confidence grows, his body language shifts, and the way the interviewer responds will likely change too. That shift doesn't come from anything outside of him, it comes from within. So remember, your belief is the lens through which you view the world. And how you view the world will ultimately shape how the world responds to you. Continuing from what we discussed earlier, your belief doesn't just shape actions, it profoundly influences the final outcome. But how can you make sure that belief doesn't remain an abstract wish, but a real force in your life? The answer lies in how you face yourself in tough situations. Imagine a man walking into a room, his shoulders slumped, voice lowered, and his gaze dropping. He's not rejected because he lacks value, but because he's already written himself off. On the other hand, another man walks into the same room with a completely different mindset. He tells himself, "I have something to offer. I'm here to see if this place deserves my energy." He speaks clearly and moves with calm confidence. Often, he lands the job, not because he's better, but because his belief showed up first. This is the core understanding of Stoicism. Perception shapes action, and action shapes results. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." It's not enough to want. You must decide. Decide who you are and then act accordingly. Wait for proof, and you'll wait forever. But if you act as if your belief is already true, the evidence will follow. Belief is a choice, not a reaction. It's not about inflated ego. It's about choosing the filter you wear. If you look at the world through the lens of failure, you'll see reasons to retreat. But if you wear the lens of opportunity, even setbacks will reveal new perspectives. Belief doesn't deny obstacles, it shows you how to move through them. Now, Picture belief like a pair of tinted glasses. One man wears glasses that say, "Not good enough." So when he faces a challenge, he sees danger. When someone gives feedback, he hears rejection. Another man wears glasses that say, "Capable." He sees a challenge and leans into it. When he hears feedback, he gets sharper. Their reality is not shaped by the world. It is shaped by the words they tell themselves before the world even speaks. This is why self-discipline and belief go hand in hand. When you act consistently with a vision of who you want to become, you start to believe in that vision more deeply. You don't build belief by sitting around thinking. You build it by choosing a standard, then living up to it over and over, even when no one is watching. There's nothing soft about belief. It's not some feel-good affirmation. It's the quiet decision to stop underestimating your value, the refusal to see yourself as a victim of chance, and the commitment to stand, speak, and move with the weight of someone who knows what he brings to the table. If you've been walking through life wearing the wrong filter, now is the time to change it. Don't wait to be picked. Pick yourself. You choose what filter you wear. You choose what reality you walk into. And when you truly do this, everything starts to shift. Moving on to another important principle. Master your emotions before they control you. Emotion is like fire. When controlled, it cooks your food, warms your home, and lights your path. But when uncontrolled, it can burn your house to the ground. Most men were never taught to hold the fire steady. They either suppress it until it explodes or let it run wild and justify the destruction afterward. But a Stoic man doesn't fear emotion. He masters it. He keeps a fire extinguisher made of logic close by because he knows that the strongest man isn't the loudest in the room. He's the one who can feel the heat without letting it consume him. Imagine you get cut off in traffic. You feel that spark, that flash of anger. That initial emotional response is natural. You can't control the flicker. But what happens next? That's on you. Do you chase the car down? Do you yell, slam the steering wheel, and fuel the fire? Or do you pause, observe it, and let it burn without allowing it to spread? That pause is everything. The power of discipline lies in the space between impulse and integrity, where your true strength is built. This is where the Stoic mind thrives, right at the intersection of emotion and reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations that we are not disturbed by the things that happen to us, but by our interpretations of those things. The Stoics didn't deny the existence of emotions like anger, fear, or envy. They simply refused to be enslaved by them. These emotions will inevitably knock on your door, but the choice is yours. Will you let them in or let them pass by? Take a moment and imagine this. You're in a meeting, and someone cuts down your idea. The impulse is to react immediately, to snap back, get louder, and show dominance. It's the instinctual response. But stop and ask yourself, what outcome do I truly want? Is it a fleeting moment of superiority? Or is it long-term respect and authority? Emotion wants to win the moment, but reason seeks to win the war. Stoicism isn't about becoming numb to your feelings, it's about becoming intentional with them. Epictetus was once asked how he could stay calm under pressure. His answer was simple yet profound: sharp practice. You don't build emotional discipline when life is calm. You build it every day through practice. Just like a soldier trains for battle or an athlete practices for competition. You train yourself to catch that first wave of emotion, to breathe through it, and only respond when it's truly necessary. And when you do respond, it's measured, clean, and precise. A powerful way to begin this practice is through the pause. When that surge of emotion comes, don't react immediately. Stop. Don't defend. Don't push back. Just let the emotion rise. Observe it, name it, watch it pass. That single act of awareness is more powerful than most people realize because most people are reactors. They are ruled by their moods and impulses. But not you. Not if you choose awareness. Another tool to master your emotions is simple but effective. Write it down. After a difficult conversation that leaves you fuming, sit down and write, what did I feel? Why did I feel that way? What did I want to say? And what did I actually do? This exercise sharpens your inner clarity, helping you understand the why behind your reactions. Over time, you'll notice a shift. You won't be pulled into every emotional wave. You won't swing at every jab. Instead, you'll respond only when it truly matters. And when you do, people will feel it, not because it's noise, but because it carries weight. A Stoic doesn't reject emotion, he harnesses it. He knows that fire can either forge steel or scorch the earth. He chooses to use that fire to forge. He allows pain to shape him, not shatter him. He holds the line when others fold, not because he feels nothing, but because he feels everything and still remains unmoved by chaos. So, when the next wave of anger, fear, or resentment rolls in, don't chase it, don't drown in it. Step back, observe it, let it crash, and let it fade. Then, walk forward. That's how power is built, not in the moments when everything feels right, but in the moments when you feel everything and still choose who you want to be. That choice, that ability to stay grounded, that is control. That's true masculinity, and that's Stoic fire used wisely. If you've made it this far, you've already shown more discipline than most people ever will, and that's the mindset we are working to cultivate. Stay with it, because the man you're becoming is waiting at the end of this path. Let's move on to the next principle. Adversity is your training ground. When life throws a brick at you, be it a job loss, heartbreak, or a financial collapse, what's your first instinct? For most men, it's the same. Why me? That reaction is normal. It's human. But here's the thing, it's not helpful. The man who stays trapped in that question remains stuck. The Stoic, on the other hand, asks a better question, one that changes everything. What's the lesson here? That shift, from victimhood to responsibility, becomes the pivot point between staying broken and coming back stronger. Because here's a hard truth, life doesn't owe you clarity, it owes you nothing. The key is in how you respond when life tests you. As we discussed earlier, Stoicism teaches us that adversity is not a curse but an opportunity for growth. And if you are willing to listen, stand up, and face it with patience and perseverance, life will teach you everything you need to know. Seneca, one of the sharpest minds of Stoicism, is a living testament to this. When he was exiled from Rome, stripped of power, influence, and prestige, most men would have collapsed, complained, and drowned in bitterness. But Seneca did not. Instead of allowing punishment to crush him, he turned his exile into a purpose. He wrote, reflected, and trained his mind. He transformed his prison cell into a gym where he forged himself. This is the lesson Stoicism imparts. When the world shrinks, you must expand within. Jocko Willink, a modern-day Navy SEAL commander, lived by this same code. When a mission went wrong, instead of deflecting blame onto subordinates, timing, or intelligence, he simply said two words that most men avoid throughout their lives: my fault. Then, he broke it down, analyzed what failed, and rebuilt. He called it extreme ownership. We call it being a man. Adversity is not a curse. It's not personal. It's part of the contract of being alive. Life is pressure, and pressure reveals what's inside you. Do you think steel is forged in comfort? No, it's born in flame. It's tested through collision. And so are you. When hardship strikes, you have two choices: collapse or construct. You can bend and ask, why is this happening to me? Or you can stand tall and ask, what is this building in me? One question weakens you, the other sharpens you. Life is going to hit you. Either way, you decide whether it leaves a scar or sharpens your edge. Want mental toughness? Stop seeking ease. Stop waiting for calm seas. Learn to sail in the storm. Want confidence? Start by facing loss without losing your identity. Resilience doesn't show up in calm. It reveals itself when everything's on fire and you're still standing. Next time something breaks, your plans, your pride, but not your heart, don't reach for blame. Don't reach for comfort. Reach inward. Ask, what is this moment trying to strengthen in me? Maybe it's your patience. Maybe it's your humility. Maybe it's your ability to lead when it's unpopular. Whatever it is, squeeze the damn lesson out of it before it passes. Most people waste their suffering. They numb it, run from it, or talk around it. Stoics use it. They turn pain into philosophy. They write while bleeding. They lead while limping. And they keep moving, not because it doesn't hurt, but because they've learned to walk with pain, not wait for it to disappear. So, when life drops the hammer next, don't ask to be spared. Ask to be sharpened, and hold the line. You're not here to avoid hardship. You're here to rise through it. That's what discipline looks like. That's what belief looks like. Not in the world, but in yourself. Stand in the ruins. Take a breath. Ask the only question that matters. What's the training here? Because every hit you take carries something inside it. Find it, use it, and then get up. And now, moving on to the next part. We'll talk about rewiring your mind. One thought at a time. Your brain isn't made of steel and concrete. Don't fool yourself. It's more like clay, malleable, always reshaping, constantly under construction. The only question is, who's holding the chisel? Are you picking it up and building the kind of mind that serves you? Or are you letting old habits, old noise, and outside voices do the sculpting for you? Every time you think a thought, take an action, or feed a reaction, it's like walking down a trail in the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. It gets easier to find, easier to follow, until one day, it's automatic. The idea of shaping your mind through discipline and thought patterns continues to hold power in your journey. Now, let's take it a step further, understanding how you can create new paths. Break old cycles, and become the person you are meant to be. Not by accident, but by design. Neural pathways, as we just discussed, work like a well-trodden trail. The more you walk them, the clearer and easier they become to follow. But here's the most empowering truth. You have the ability to forge a new path. You don't have to remain stuck in patterns that lead you to self-doubt, procrastination, and distraction. You can carve out a different road, a path defined by daily clarity, focus, and discipline. Not someday, not in theory, but today. The brain is not a static, unchanging thing. It is reprogrammable. Science calls this neuroplasticity. The Stoics simply called it effort. Want to change how you think? Don't wait for some massive, dramatic shift. Start small. Take the tiniest step in discipline today. It could be as simple as stopping the habit of scrolling through your phone before bed. Instead, read one page of a book, a single page. Or, don't reach for your phone the second you wake up. Take 5 minutes to breathe. Sit in stillness. Those moments of silence will rewire your mind more than you think. These may seem like small, insignificant changes, but trust me, when done daily, they carve new grooves into your thinking. And those grooves? They become roads. And those roads eventually become the person you are. Imagine your mind as a garden. Negative thoughts? They're weeds. You can't just wish them away, hoping they'll vanish on their own. No, you have to get down on your knees and pull them out one by one. But that's not all. You also have to plant seeds, intentional thoughts, stronger beliefs, stoic perspectives that ground you when the world around you starts spinning. Because nature hates a vacuum. If you don't consciously plant your own thoughts, the world will plant them for you, and trust me, it's likely to be garbage. Every time you complain, every time you say, "I can't," or "That's just how I am," you are reinforcing the wrong neural trail. You're handing the trowel to your worst instincts. But when you replace those phrases with, "I'll find a way," or "I'm not there yet, but I'm building," something shifts, not just emotionally, but neurologically as well. you're training your brain like a soldier trains his reflexes. And over time, that training becomes instinct. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, it's a habit. And that's not just some motivational quote, it's a biological fact. If you're unhappy with your default mindset, it's time to change what you're repeating. Stop saying you're stuck. You're not stuck. You're just stuck in a loop of repeating the wrong sequence. Break that loop. Write a new one. This isn't about motivation or feel-good moments. It's about structure. It's about choosing the inputs that shape your identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to reprogram him, because he's too busy doing the work himself. So, pick up the trowel, rip out the weeds, and plant what matters. Walk that new path every day, even when it feels unnatural. Especially when it feels unnatural. That's the sign you're forging something new. And if you stay consistent, your mind will catch up. It always does. Your brain is listening to everything you do. It will believe whatever you train it to believe, one thought at a time, one action at a time, one disciplined step forward every single day. Now, let's dive into another crucial step, cutting the past and rewriting your story. Those old psychological scars, the things people have said about you, the failures you've tried to forget, are you still treating them like a life sentence? Because here's the good news, they're not a verdict. They're a draft, and guess what? The pen's in your hand now. Most men walk around carrying beliefs that were handed to them years ago by a parent, a coach, or a failed moment. But what if you could rewrite those beliefs? What if you could take control of your story instead of letting it control you? After understanding how to reprogram your thinking and break old habits, let's dive into an equally important part, changing the story you tell about yourself. You've probably heard statements like, "You're not smart enough," or "You always mess things up," even, "You'll never be the one who makes it." These words, even if they start as casual remarks, can quietly slip into your mind. Over time, they no longer stay as mere criticism, they become internal laws. Beliefs that you may not even realize, not because they're true, but because they've been repeated over and over. And repetition, like an invisible thread, slowly nurtures belief. But here's the key. You don't have to keep repeating them. In fact, you have the power to challenge every single one of them. Do a simple exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down a limiting thought you've been carrying for too long. Something like, "I always fall short," or "I'm not leadership material." Now, trace it back. Where did that thought originate? Who said it to you? What happened that made you believe this? Then, ask yourself, is this still 100% true today? And slowly, you'll start to see it for what it really is. A leftover echo from a version of you that no longer exists. This is where Stoic philosophy cuts through the noise. The past is done, dead, and out of your control. But what's within your control is how you interpret it. As Epictetus said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. If your story is still causing you pain, it's because you're holding the blade the wrong way. The event isn't the prison, the meaning you attach to it is. Take that same piece of paper and below the limiting belief, write a new one, a belief grounded in action, proof, and present-day reality. If you've built anything, learned anything, or survived anything, you already have evidence. Use it. Write a line like, "I'm not perfect, but I'm capable, and I show up," or "I lead because I care, not because I'm flawless." Keep it true, keep it sharp, and repeat it, not just in your mind but in your actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride. Let go without attachment." He wasn't talking about things, he was talking about stories. Especially the ones you no longer need. That version of yourself you keep dragging forward, let it go. If it taught you something great, keep the lesson, but drop the weight. The mind clings to old definitions like a drowning man clings to a rock. But that rock doesn't float. If you want to move forward, You have to let go of who you were told you were. Because as long as your identity is tied to the past, your future is held hostage. And here's the truth. Self-belief doesn't come from ignoring the past. It comes from owning the story, editing it, and using it as fuel. You get to say, yes, I failed there, but I didn't stop. You get to say, yes, I was underestimated, but not anymore. And more than anything, you get to decide what the next chapter looks like. No one's going to hand you permission to rewrite your story. That's your job. Not someday, but now. So, drop the excuses. Drop the ghosts. You're not stuck. You're just holding on to a version of you that's expired. Pick up the pen. Write a new line. Walk like it's already true. Because belief isn't found in the past. It's written in what you choose to do next. Self-belief isn't a spark you wait for. It's a fire you build brick by brick, moment by moment. Every idea we've explored in this video leads to one truth. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you earn through disciplined thought and consistent action. You act first, confidence follows. Start by mastering the space between emotion and response. When fear shows up, meet it with logic. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself that your mind is not set in stone. As mentioned earlier, mental strength isn't something you can achieve in a single moment, but rather a process, a journey that unfolds every day. And on that journey, you'll realize that your mind is both a tool and a muscle that needs to be trained and nurtured. It's like a garden, where you choose what to water, what to prune, and what to build. This is the power of being proactive in managing and cultivating your thoughts. When faced with adversity, don't ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What's next?" and "What can I learn from this?" This mindset alone will set you apart from the majority. The Stoic man doesn't chase ease. He embraces growth even when everything around him seems chaotic. Let go of the past. Don't let the old stories control you. Because only when you keep rereading them do they define you. What truly matters is what you do next. The decision you make today. The habit you build tonight. The way you carry yourself tomorrow morning. And most importantly, make it a daily practice. Self-belief is not a one-time event. It's a routine. It's the way you think, walk, speak, and show up every single day. No motivation is needed. Just intention. Just presence. Just you, being exactly who you're becoming. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share your story in the comments. What have you overcome? What belief are you choosing to rewrite? Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Train your mind, build your discipline, and live like the man you already are, just not yet fully revealed.